Okay.
Welcome to the Unshakable Business mini series, where we interview one of our business leaders in our community and unpack how they get more profit, productivity, and purpose out of their business all around them. So today we're going to welcome Marion Brisbane from South Carolina. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. You know,
Great.
it's a little interesting. I guess we're doing these like in a video recording scenario when, we get on a call about 3 times a month like this, but it's not for everybody else to hear. So that, I guess people are getting a little back, the behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and it was good to see you, by the way, last week when I came up and did that class with you guys for positioning to sell. So maybe we'll get around to that discussion. But tell us a little bit about yourself, what industry you are in, how long you've been in that industry, and how it's going.
My name is Marion. I've been in the industry for about 7 years.
Which
Uh,
industry?
I'm in the Columbia, South Carolina market.
In real
I
estate. Real estate, right?
Yes, real estate.
All
Yes,
right,
real
because
estate.
look, I'm interrupting you only because there are people who are going to watch this that are like in insurance or water restoration, all kinds of different industries, and so it's helpful to them to know what business you're in, right? So you're in residential real estate. You do some commercial too, right?
Yes, I do some commercial, but
Yeah.
I'm mostly residential. And I'm in the Columbia market. I've been in the business since 2018. Um, it's been a great journey. I love what I do, but I'm trying to uh, make my business better for me and my clients.
Sure. So 2018 put us at around 7 years. Am my math right?
Yes, sir.
7 years.
About 7 years.
And I think one of your cohorts there sent me a screenshot of you being the number one agent for your brokerage. Was it last month or was it for the year? What was that for?
It was for last year, 2024, out of 100, around 160 agents. I was the top producer. Um, and it was it was a great day for me and my clients. And, I just hope to improve upon it.
Yeah, well, we all are. And that, by the way, speaks to everyone that's listening to this. You're like, well, I'm kind of already at the top of my game, or I haven't quite achieved it, and that's why I can't get there. What I have learned is that people are usually high achievers, what we call qualified champions. They're usually the ones that are out there, investing in themselves and doing things and, always looking to learn because the more you learn, the more you earn, assuming that you take action on what you learn, right?
Yes, of
So,
course.
congratulations to that. That's a big deal out of that many agents in your market. So, let's get to know Marion a little bit, I guess, a little bit of your backstory because we didn't just all of a sudden fall out of a tree in 2018 said, I'm going to go do some real estate. You haven't been doing that all of your life, obviously. So, I guess maybe first tell us a little bit about you personally, married, children, that kind of thing. And then um, what were you doing before you got into real estate?
Well, I'm married. I have two sons. I've been with my wife. We've been married a long time. We actually met in high school back in, yes, back in 1984. So we've been together a long time. Uh,
Not to make you feel weird, brother, but that I would have been like 8 years old when that happened, man. Okay, all right. So 84, y'all been together a very long time then. Carry on.
Yeah, yes, we have. We've been together a long time, and I'll tell you, she's been my biggest fan and my biggest supporter, and I really appreciate everything she's done for me and my family and everyone else. I I started out right pretty much right out of high school working in a company called Mack Trucks. We built 18 wheelers. So I did that the first 15 years of my life. The company actually moved to a couple of different states. They kind of moved away. So I moved away with the company. I moved to Hagerstown, Maryland, and I worked up there for 15 more years. And I retired in 2018 and in Maryland and moved back to South Carolina.
Wow.
Upon retirement, I went straight to real estate school.
Okay. So let me ask you, first of all, let me back up. Sorry, my ADHD is just on fire right now because you like all this, there's all kinds of questions that people would want to know. But 30 years, if I did my math, with Mack
Yes.
trucks slash Volvo, is that right?
Yes, sir. Mac Trust slash Volvo.
What kind of, you don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what kind of work were you doing for them? Or what did you end up finishing at
I
doing?
ended up, at first we started out, it was a brand new facility. So we actually opened the facility. We actually built the 18 wheeler, the entire truck.
Right. But what was your role in that situation? Were you on the line? Were you in kind of like, what were you doing?
I started out on the line, but I moved around. I held probably 10 different jobs in South Carolina, from quality to material handling to painting.
Hmm.
I just enjoyed learning. So I did many jobs. And when I went up to Maryland, I started out in the paint shop and I moved around again to material handling. And then my last job was actually material handling, but I actually brought the parts in off the ships out of the port of Baltimore.
Okay.
So I tracked the parts coming in off of the ships and brought them into the plant and got them to the assembly line as quickly
You're
as
like kind of a
possible.
logistical master in that situation.
Yes, it's just in time logistics, so it's a lot of pressure. We didn't try to store many parts, so you really had to keep up with everything to keep
Yeah,
the line
yeah.
running.
So, how did the real estate conversation show up for you? Was that like a long time thing? Was that just kind of like this sounds like it's easy to do? Was it like how did you end up in real estate? Because there's people show up in real estate from all kind of industries. What was that decision process look like for you?
I actually went to real estate school back in 1991, and I went to school, but I knew that being working where I was, we had a pension, and I just wanted that pension, so I just stuck with the job until I got my 30 years, and so I could get draw a pension because there are uh, that's something that's not given anymore
Sure.
through jobs. So I wanted
Okay.
to do that.
So
So
you decided you were going to stick around for the purposes of the pension, but you actually this desire to be in the business you're in now started in 91-ish, right? When you went to
actually, it
school.
started before then. I don't know why. I always wanted to be a real estate agent for
Okay.
some reason.
Tell me about that. What was it that made you want to be a real estate agent? What
I just wanted to help people get into homes. I just thought it was a fascinating career, helping people get into homes. And I just like looking at the market and how the market changed and evaluations of homes and things like that. So
Yeah. I think this is probably going to dovetail into what I had asked you earlier before we got on camera, when I asked you about what would you consider your gift? And I defined your gift as something that other people would find difficult, but for you, just kind of it's naturally easy for you. Share with us what in your words, kind of what you think that is.
I just think my gift is helping people feel more welcomed and comfortable with themselves. I like talking to people. I like asking questions about them and their situation in life. And I don't think it's on a judgmental angle. I just think I just like knowing about people and what's going on in their lives. And it's okay, whatever you have going on, either, you're happy or there's an avenue to be happy. I just like to
Yeah.
hear about people's story.
Yeah. I would probably be able to vouch for that because anytime I've ever been in a large group setting where you're at, people love chatting with you. They just come to talk to you. It's very natural. Where I don't have that welcoming face. Apparently, I have the kind of face that makes people want to kind of be a little frightened. But you have that personality and that energy, if you will, that helps people feel comfortable enough to talk to you. So it makes sense to me that you found real estate as an industry for you to go do that in. Excuse me. Okay, so knowing that 2018, you probably already had it. It sounds like you were already kind of like probably, if I know you well enough, a couple of years in advance, you were thinking 2018, that's when I get my pension, that's when everything's done, I'm retired, I can go into real estate. Was that the plan?
That was a plan. The very first day I could retire, I did. And the very first class I could get into real estate school, I did.
Okay. So then we got into real estate. What were some of the challenges that you ran into? This is now is when it gets juicy. Everybody's going to be like, wait, what? The man has challenges. He was number one last month in his brokerage or last year in his brokerage, but he had problems. Yeah. Tell me some of the challenges that maybe you've run through, maybe in the beginning and then kind of 7 years down the road now. What were some of the problems you encountered, right? And how they made you feel in the process?
Well, in the beginning, the challenges were getting uh, my sphere of influence to really see me as a professional real estate agent. I struggled with the processes and the organization of being a real estate agent. Um, I understood how to talk to people, and I really had to learn how to really listen to people and judge how they react to certain things.
Mm. So I just this just crossed my mind. You were in an extremely organized, structured factory environment. Like everything, like you just said, the logistics, just in time logistics, like it was all very structured. And then you got thrown into the entrepreneurial world of real estate and decided this was my path. And you ask 15 real estate agents, I've been in that, in that industry, you ask 15 agents, what does it take to be successful? You will literally get 15 different responses. So I can't imagine the level of uncertainty that created for you and kind of just where do I go? What do I need to do? And you just kind of shuffled your way through. Was that kind of your experience?
Yes, that's correct. I actually, my perception of how to be a real estate agent was quite different than what it really was. I just thought I was done with all the organization, the structure, the processes that was taught to me for 30 years and following someone else's program. And I thought I could get into real estate and just let everything go and just figure it out as I went along. But I found out quickly I really needed all the processes and
Hmm.
organization that I let go in the beginning.
Yeah. If you don't treat it like a business, then it's gonna it'll if you don't control it as a business, the business is gonna control you.
Yes, and that's exactly what happened.
Right. So what kind of a lack of a better word, was there an epiphany along the way? Like, was there a moment that you kind of said, okay, I got to get my structure in place to kind of get this under control?
Yes, and it was a struggle when I got busy, and I my process, which wasn't a process, just took up a lot of my personal time, my business time, the organization part that I didn't have in place makes made me scramble a lot. So I
Hmm.
was so busy trying to complete the deals and have everyone feel happy and me feel happy.
Yeah. So you're the only one, Marion. There's lots of real estate uh, agents that have all their crap together. You're the only one that couldn't. You're not the. I'm just playing, but so somewhere along the way, though, you said, you know, I got to get some stuff together, get some systems together. Um, I guess fast forward to last year, kind of how and when did you and I meet?
Well, we met at, you came and spoke at one of our monthly meetings, and I was actually, I was doing pretty well. And I was sitting there and listening to you talk, and what you were saying about business is actually what I was going through. And it's, it's hard it's hard to listen to someone who does not even know you tell you what you're going through in your business and your life. And I just said right then, even having a good month, it's like I was working 20 hours a day. So I have to do something. I need more time for my family. I need more free time. I just needed organization. And even though I was doing well, like I would pour so much time into maybe 1 month, but where I may have, a number of deals that the next month I didn't have anything because I
Mhm.
didn't have a process.
Mhm. What would you say you attempted to do to correct that in the past? Like what were some of the things you tried to do to make that stop, get off that roller coaster ride that kind of happens, especially in real estate agents worlds, because there's typically a 60 to 90 day cycle, right? And so because everything you're doing today in real estate, um, you won't really see money for like 90 days, the activity you take today. So, um, what did you try before that maybe didn't work so that if somebody's watching this, they're like, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that either?
Well, what I tried before was I would spend so much time doing a number of deals per month, and at the end of that month, I didn't have anything. I would try to reach out to clients that I didn't talk to for a while,
Mm.
and most of the time it was too late. They had already moved on with another agent, or
That's always a kick in the gut.
yes,
Like
that's
you knew I was in real estate, and then they oh well, I'm sorry, I thought you were busy, or I forgot, or this situation just showed up, and then you end up losing an entire deal when you thought you had a relationship. Yeah.
yes, losing more than an entire deal, many deals. So at that time, I just figured, I have to treat this as a true business and get it organized and run it as a true business instead of like running it as a hobby.
So you were Which, by the way, that's a big key, what you just said, running it like a business instead of a hobby. But to really kind of package what you're saying is uh, you were reacting to where you were in the moment, right? So if you had a couple deals, you were focused on just closing those deals, taking your eyes off of the lead generation aspect or finding new business or even nurturing your current client base. Um, but then when you didn't have those deals, you reacted again. I don't have anything, so let me go back to my pond and go fishing, right? And so you're just up and down, up and down. Is that kind of the way it went?
Yes, when I went back to the pond, there were other people fishing and and they were
Everybody's fishing, they're
they,
casting
they were
nets and
nibbling
stuff with
on
all this
other hooks.
technology.
Yes.
So what new actions are you taking or plan to take or have taken to kind of correct that? What have you been doing recently or since you noticed you were on that path?
Well, lately I am organizing my sphere of influence.
Thank you
I'm
for
really
catching the word
organized.
try, by the way, but carry on.
Yes, yes. No, I am. I am organizing my sphere of influence, labeling them, and putting them in our system at our brokerage that to keep track of everyone, to keep track of where they are in the process of buying a home or refer me to some of uh, their people in their sphere of influence. I think the main thing I'm doing is keeping track of everyone that I'm associated with in real
What do you
estate.
think causes people not to do that? I mean, I know you struggled a little bit with doing it, and I imagine you're still struggling a little bit because it's kind of there's a learning curve, using a CRM and getting into
Yes.
it and putting it. What do you think keeps people from actually doing that?
What kept me from doing it? I just thought I had everything under control in my mind, and I could just think of it when I could. And I was 100% wrong. I was just forgetting certain people, clientele, and I wasn't reaching out in a timely manner.
Hmm.
Uh, I just think you get to a point where you think you have it under control
Oh,
without
yeah,
having a system, and you don't.
I could see that. I could see that. The if we rewound the clock to like 1980s and 90s, maybe as far as the 90s, um, it was a much smaller group of people you had to work with to get the business you needed. Nowadays, some of the larger teams and the people that I've worked with, they'll have 3,000 people in their database and they're touching on a consistent basis. And yeah, they're closing 80, 100 deals a year, but they got to have a lot of conversations, not just conversations though. And I'm going through this because there's somebody who's probably watching this going, it's really not that hard, dude. You close two houses, you're going to make enough money to live. To close 24 houses in a year, you're doing okay. I don't think most people realize the level of energy it takes to close two in a month, right? Um, just to get to that level, right? Because the average agent, by the way, across the board, it's 8 for the entire. It's actually less than that probably now, but um, nobody's going to survive on closing 1 and 2 deals for the year. But there's a ton of them, and I forgot what the statistic is, but less than like seven, or right around 70% didn't close a deal last year. That's just wild. But anyway, I say all that to say, um, if you don't leverage the technology, you're not going to be able to have a personalized conversation when you pick up the phone and talk to this person that you talked to 2 weeks ago, because you might see a name and you're like, I don't remember them right off the bat. But when you see their little comments or notes, you go, oh, yeah, 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 I remember these people, right? And it's not that hard, but you just need some technology, something to remind you a little bit about where you were at the last time you spoke, right? And also a
Yes,
little
sir.
nudge, if it was 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, to remind you to check in because they're pregnant and they're going to have a baby in May and you want to touch base because they don't want to move until after the baby's born or whatever. You're right. But you can't remember that story over 1,000 people. But that's what it takes. And so they got to have the technology. So kudos to you for beginning to work into your CRM. I think a lot of people would be surprised to hear that, dang, this guy, number one in his brokerage and hadn't been using his CRM. That's amazing. Make,
Uh,
makes you wonder what you're going to be able to do, by the way, as you continue to grow using that CRM.
yes, yes.
Does
It's
that
it's been
feel
it's
exciting?
been challenging, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I like challenges.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I know that you've been working on too, and I'm not going to, what you and I talk about is for us, but I also know because it's an issue for a lot of people is the time discussion, right? Just really managing and getting down to what I need to be doing during certain times. And that all comes back to I want to be more purposeful with my resources, right? The systems that I have, the people I talk to. So I know that that's all part of it. Um, what would you say is your advice to someone who's sitting there thinking, hmm, uh, I want to grow, but I'm not really sure, right? I'm not sure what the next step is for me. What are some of the things maybe that you would advise them? I don't know if that's a good, clear question, but
Well, I can, through my experience, when I got into the business, I wish I would have organized my business a lot better. So organization is key, and having a process for a real estate transaction, having a process for reaching your sphere of influence, having a process for acquiring new clients, um, and also dedicating time to real estate. Just like you're going to work every day, you need to dedicate certain time for prospecting, certain
are you
time
saying
for
I can't just kind of
callback.
randomly go up to Starbucks at 10 o'clock in the morning because I just feel like it?
Uh, if you want to improve your business, probably not. You have to dedicate time for your
Unless you're doing
business.
business at Starbucks, I guess. Somebody's going to hear this and be like, "Oh, well, I get business when I go to Starbucks." Well, that's fine. Go do your lead generation there. That's fine. But the joke was that you can't just have a free willing schedule that doesn't have some level of structure.
Yeah, you need structure and consistency in your schedule,
Mm.
and after doing it for a while, it will become natural. So
All right.
that's what I'm working on also.
So humor me this real quick. We'll just take another 5 minutes or so.
Yes, sir.
Um, you and I met, and I remember that day actually because you challenged me in front of everyone.
Yes, you challenged me, so I
No, but you
challenged you.
challenged me right in front of everyone. Right? This was a whole office meeting. There was a bunch of people in that room, and you pushed back. And and I think you were a little surprised that I came back at you in that moment. Do you remember that exchange?
Yes, I do. Well, my thing is I don't have, you're challenged to do things, but you're not challenged in front of your coworkers and in front of everyone. And yeah, I fought back a little bit, but you were ready for me.
Well, if we fast forward a little bit, you ended up spending an entire weekend with us at what's called the Unshakable Weekend event. Those of you that are kind of, want to know anything about that, I'll put it in the comments or the information below, but it's spencercombs.com/UWE Unshakable Weekend event. You came and spent a whole weekend with us, and there was a specific quote that I think I have put somewhere. I don't know if you even remember uh, what you had said to me. What was your takeaway from that weekend? Because that was a little altering for you.
Yeah, yeah, that was a great weekend. Actually, I didn't go alone. My wife went with me, um, and it was a great weekend. It made both of us really think a lot on our lives and the organization and what we do, and also what our end goals were as far as real estate and her career. What is our objective in 5 years? I'll be 62 in 5 years, and what is my end goal and how to reach that end goal. But first, I had to find out what the end goal was. It wasn't what I thought it was. But after
Hmm.
being in the class and answering questions from you and having her look at me and nudging me in the side to
I think there was a little nudging going both directions though, because I could see you, with her too. There was things in her life that she wanted to adjust and do differently.
Yeah, we thought we were on the same path, and I think we were to an extent, but we really realized what our end goals were,
Mhm.
and thank you for giving us the vehicles to reach our end goals. It was eye-opening, and I really appreciate that weekend. It's
I
changed my life.
I think people need to take time to really do so. There's three things I'm always talking about on a regular basis, aside from mindset, mechanics, and movement. But what really helps people get where they want to go, or what they're missing, is number one is clarity. And I think that weekend, especially the first day, is very heavy on the clarity discussion because, like we talk about in Momentum and Mastery, the book, you're not going to have that drift to drive experience without first understanding where you are and then what do you want and why do you want it, right? And that's what we spent that first day. I remember you guys just like soaking it up and really because you guys did the work. I don't think a lot of people realize they think, oh, it's just a little fun woohoo weekend. No, you guys, by the time you go home, you're exhausted. You're ready to go to bed
Yes.
because there's a lot of work that gets done mentally. Um, but that clarity is the number one thing. The second thing is consistency, and that's a system discussion. So we spend a great deal of time talking about that on the second day. But people don't get where they really want to go because they're not consistent enough. And I think you've already hammered that nail a few times today. And then the third thing is conditioning. We Who we're hanging out with, what are we listening to, what are we paying attention to, right? If we're walking around and talking to if we're getting wealth advice from poor people, that's just going to be a problem, right? If we're going to get a relationship advice from people who've been divorced 3 times, that might be a problem, right?
Yes.
If I'm not going to take weight loss advice or health advice from the lady that's too big to sit in the chair at the flea market, and that's a true story, by the way. But anyway, who we're listening to matters, right? Who we're hanging out with matters. So all of that has to come together before we actually start seeing the results. And you have been doing a really good job of wrestling with it, working through it, making things happen. Yes, some days you have ups, some days you have downs, but every time it's progression is the goal, not perfection, right? We're looking to make progress. It's way better than achievement. Um, what do you anticipate seeing here in the next year or so? What are kind of some of your goals, or what do you plan to see happen from all your efforts?
I plan to see more time um, vacationing, just spending time with family because I'm really, both of us, we're really trying to organize our life. I'm trying to organize my real estate business and treating it like a business because a true business runs itself. So I'm really working on that, and I'm going to make it happen.
Love it. Love it. Well, Marion, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you jumping on with us here for the Unshakable Business mini series. Um, if there's anything I can ever do, of course, you can reach out to me. And those of you, there's a shameless plug for Marion. If you are looking to buy real estate or do anything in that area, you're welcome to talk to Marion. I'll put his contact information in the description below as well. Marion Brisbane in the Columbia, South Carolina. I say Columbia. Columbia, most people didn't think Columbia because I had worked in that area. It's really the Midlands. It's like everything from, and I'm assuming you're willing to go down to like Lexington County and all the way down there. I don't know.
Yes, I'm in MLSs from Columbia and surrounding areas all the way to Myrtle Beach.
Wow. All right. Look at this guy. I don't know that I would go all the way to Myrtle, but anyway, thank you for taking your time with us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Have a nice day.